Barbados, get up.
Good morning Barbados, good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed and welcome to today. Today is Tuesday, the 1st of April 2025. I'm Pearson Bowen. Thank you for waking up to keep us company. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for telling others about us. But most of all, thank you for being there. Remember to continue to watch us on our streams on Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, cbc.bb. I thank you again for doing so. But most of all, continue to talk among yourself, but talk to us as well. And remember always, if you have an idea or if you know of someone or something which you need to share with the rest of the world as well, do drop us an email. Our email address is on your screen. It is morninbarbados@cbc.bb. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And welcome one and all to today. Today, 1st of April. And I'm not fooling you, but I fooled myself. I was so convinced that today was World Autism Awareness Day that I wore blue. And remember, you wear the color blue in support of that. So I'm a day early. So it's tomorrow that is World Autism Awareness Day. So we want to encourage you tomorrow to wear your shades of blue. Whatever shade of blue there is that you have in your closet, put it on. And you can clad yourself in your color blue to show your support and solidarity with World Autism Awareness Day. It's a condition with which a lot of people still live, and you can still function because they are really intelligent and smart people, very able. Peter too, on the studio floor with me, was tricked as well. So he's also today wearing his blue. But you know, and we're welcome to think of it, yeah. So folks, tomorrow is World Autism Awareness Day. We want to encourage you to do so. Terrific Tuesday morning back at you, Rhonda, as well. Thank you. Have a lovely day today. That is Sweet Rons. She's wishing everyone today a lovely day, as we wish all of you too. Patricia Ben, thank you as well. Have yourself a great morning as well. She's wishing the production crew a fantastic today. Estelita Pyle, thank you so much as well. She's wishing a very good morning to all of her inspirational friends. It's good to see how you guys interact right there on our wall on Facebook. It is really, really wonderful to see you all. Marcia Rock, good morning to you as well. She's wishing all the beautiful people of Barbados watching the show a terrific Tuesday and hoping that at the beginning of this month that we have a great rest of month, and we do too for all of you. Remember, you can also comment on our YouTube page, but share the show. Tell someone else about us indeed. What's today's riddle of the day? The one that came forward from yesterday. That is still the riddle. Good morning to you, Maria Lane. Have a lovely day. She's watching from Hamilton, Ontario. Thank you, Maria. I'm told that you guys are cold up there. And as we've been saying all year long, come long home. Come home and enjoy all that we have to offer for regathering. This month it is, and we've now crossed the border into April, we're crossing the border into St. Joseph. So it's the month of St. Joseph this month of April, and they have a whole host of activities. So keep tuned with us, and we'll keep telling you about it as well. So the question, the riddle of the day, here we go. Ready for this? What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? 228-5562 or 228-5563. What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? Boy, y'all ready for me with this, huh? I think someone has done homework. I hope you didn't cheat. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, Pearson.
You're up rather early.
Always.
Oh, you went in with the fowls?
Not really.
Not really? What time did you go to bed?
I was going to sleep late.
What is late for you?
After 11, 12.
Wow. In other words, you know the old people will say you kill a priest.
Yes, I think so.
But there you are. And these are wonderful sayings. You know, sometimes you wonder where they got those sayings from, haven't you?
Yep.
And have you figured that one out? You kill a priest?
I didn't kill the priest, though, but you know.
Yeah, it's one of those.
My mother saying the same thing.
Yes, I know my grandmother said that. Mm-hmm. All right, so tell me, what's the answer?
I have bookkeeper.
Yes, Billy, it is bookkeeper. B-O-O-K-E-E-P-E-R.
Yes.
Yes,
I've got it.
bookkeeper, you've done it. Well done, Billy. Well done indeed. As I say, you're up real early because I know you went to bed late last night.
Yeah.
And nobody should ask me how I know. Don't ask me how I know.
All right, Pierce. You have
know-
a good day.
You too. Take care. Have a lovely day
Thank you.
indeed.
Bye-bye.
So the answer is bookkeeper. B-O-O-K-E-E-P-E-R. Those are the 3 consecutive double letters. So that's as simple as that. So here we go. New question. As I'll put this up so that during the day you can continue to call me. Think about this. You don't know me yet, but you always miss me when I'm gone. You don't know me yet, but you always miss me when I am gone. So the question is, what am I? An ambassador looked into the roof figure, oh dear, what did Pearson just... You don't know me yet, but you always miss me when I am gone. What am I? Got you good, right? Got you good. Work that one out, folks. Now, coming up today, as always, on a Tuesday morning, we'll have our conversations on CARICOM. He came to the Caribbean, that's the U.S. Secretary of State, but what did they talk about? And having left, what's next? In our conversation on CARICOM, we'll look at that and a whole lot more. Now, the memorial, which is a significant commemoration of the death of Jesus Christ, is one of the activities this month of April put on by the Jehovah's Witnesses. They will join us as we talk about this event, what it means, and what it means for you, and why you should be a part of the memorial. So don't be afraid, it's going to be quite an interesting discussion. So look out for that coming up. On Friday, we did tell you about the Barbados National Cheerleading Competition. Were you there? If you were there, then you know of all the excitement that unfolded. But if you were not there and you're curious as to what happened, we have it for you. We have an update and a snapshot, basically, of what happened at that event. Also, if you're from St. Thomas, then you might know the name Patricia Ramsey. If you don't know her, she'll join us today as we share her story, as she just recently received a national honor. And so we want to be able to talk a little bit to her about her life, her contribution to her parish, St. Thomas, and all that it means really for her to be a recipient of a national honor. And where are you now on your journey towards being emotionally intelligent? Are you getting it? Are you feeling more empowered? Are you now better able to name it so you can tame it? Are you tracking why you respond in the way that you respond so that you can better understand what you need to avoid and what you need to do? Are you breathing? Are you living in the moment? All of those things that help you become emotionally intelligent. Well, Tony Olton will come by today as we take a look now at understanding self-management and why it's important for you professionally and personally. So those are some of the things we'll be looking at this morning on Morning Barbados. So do stick around. But let's get going this morning at 8.5 minutes after 6 o'clock in our conversations on CARICOM. And for this, as always, we're joined by Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, His Excellency David Comichon. Ambassador, good morning.
Morning, Pearson. You've given me a riddle to think about for the rest of the day.
Gotcha, good. And I like that because I love the fact that I like when people get it wrong. You should know this by now, so that it continues, but it creates conversation.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of conversation, and that's what we're about. But we're on a different conversation
A different
now.
riddle.
Totally, indeed. We're having our conversations on CARICOM because he came, the U.S. Secretary of State, and he would have met with leaders of the region. Can you give us some insight as to what was discussed?
Well, his stated purpose for coming was to advance President Trump's foreign policy priorities in relation to the Caribbean. So it was an interesting experience because we were hearing firsthand where this new Trump administration is going in relation to the Caribbean. And, you know, during a couple of days before he came, we got a new revelation of that policy when the Trump administration announced that it is going in the direction of imposing penalties on Chinese shipping companies or even other shipping companies that have Chinese-built ships. And whether it's a Chinese shipping company or a shipping company that has Chinese-built ships that goes into a U.S. port, that they are proposing to impose penalties ranging from US $1 million to as high as, I think, $3.5 million. And of course, that caused consternation in our region because it has very negative consequences for us. So that became part of the conversation when he came. So he met, he came, he went to Jamaica, he went to Guyana, he went to Suriname. He met with the national leaders of those three countries, and they had their own bilateral conversations. But he also met with the current chair of CARICOM, Prime Minister Motley, who traveled to Jamaica to meet with him, to speak from a CARICOM perspective. So the fact that he chose those countries, well, clearly one of the Trump administration's priorities is the oil and gas resources of Guyana and Suriname. And, Pearson, as I said, it was an opportunity for us to get a deeper understanding of where the Trump administration is going and how we need to respond to where the Trump administration is going. One of the big issues that was on the table as he came into the Caribbean was this issue of the Cuban Medical Corporation. And, well, we know the position that the U.S. had put out prior to Mr. Rubio coming. And I think the way this issue played out is very instructive because we know what happened. Our leaders said what they had to say. Our foreign ministers met with the Assistant Secretary of State for this hemisphere, explained to him the realities of this corporation. Prime Minister Motley, Prime Minister Gonzalez, Prime Minister Rowley also made their positions clear. But it's interesting how, against that background, how he eventually responded to this issue. And what I would like to do is just to read his words, just to read his words. So in Jamaica, at the press conference, the question was put to him by a Jamaican journalist, Secretary Rubio. My question is, in relation to the matter of the Cuban Medical Corporation program, the medical mission has been a cornerstone of health in Jamaica and the Caribbean for over 50 years. How does the U.S. reconcile its stance on this program with the region's reliance on Cuban medical professionals? And this is how he answered. He says, well, I think the first thing is to separate the medical from the labor issues that we are pointing to, okay? This is not about doctors. This is not about the provision of medical assistance. We have no problem with medical assistance, and we don't have a problem with doctors. We have a problem, and I'm not speaking about Jamaica. We have discussed this today about following international labor standards and the like. But I'm talking about this program in general, how it's operated around the world. And how it's operated around the world is that basically the doctors are not paid. Now, there are places that have better labor standards. Perhaps Jamaica is one of those, and that's fine. But I'm describing generally what the program has been. Every country operates their program differently. And obviously, because of our relationship with Jamaica, we are going to engage with them on that and talk about it further and have a better understanding. Perhaps none of this applies in the way it's handled here. End of quote. So I think his words actually speak for themselves. And he's mentioning Jamaica because he's in Jamaica, but those words apply
to the region.
To the region. So there's a lesson in that for us, Pearson.
Yes.
There's a lesson in that. We stood unified. We had one position. We articulated that position, and we explained our reality. Look, this is our truth. This is our reality. This is what the interest of our people demands. And this is where we stand. And, you know, if you proceed the way you said you're going to proceed, well, you know, we won't. But this is where we stand. And that has obviously had an impression.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is a great takeaway for me. And I think an important part of it, Pearson, is that the Caribbean people were obviously behind the positions that our leaders took.
Yes.
Because the Caribbean people know the Cuban Medical Corporation, and they know what benefit it has brought to us. And so I think that is one of the takeaways for me. And clearly, we are going to face some challenges with the foreign policy of the Trump administration. We can perhaps discuss that because I think the policy that they're pursuing is is a hark back to American foreign policy of the 19th century.
Indeed.
You know, where the Monroe Doctrine, the system of the American system of political economy. We could discuss that, and that is going to produce some challenges for us. But I think this was a great example of how we have to deal with those challenges and simply, you know, say to the Americans, look, you know, you have come up with your policy, but you need to know that your policy may have negative effects for us, and you need to be aware of this. And you need to take that into account.
As I listened to his response as read by you, I got the sense that he was walking back away from the position initially set, where he says, well, it's really not about the medical program. Now you're hearing that. At first you were hearing, oh, the medical program is about the, what's the word, is labor.
Yes, forced labor.
Forced labor, right.
And human trafficking. And
correct.
So forth,
And
yes.
then suddenly now he has a different position or articulated a different position by the Trump administration. So that's a good response, I think. For now, of course, we'll have to test those words and see how true they really are. But then I want to look at the whole question then of the imposition of tariffs on our access to goods out of China.
Yes. But again, and I think that just like with the Cuban Medical Corporation, I think we are approaching this in a very similar manner. Very united. We are speaking with one voice. And just as we did with the Cuban Medical Program, we are explaining to them our truth, our reality, and how it will affect the interests of our people. And I want to point out the work that has been done by the Caribbean Private Sector Organization, the CPSO. The CPSO is something, when Prime Minister Motley came on board in 2018, she urged the Caribbean private sector, look, establish this regional body so that you could speak with one voice and we can make you an associate institution of CARICOM. And that was Prime Minister Motley's vision, and it was done. They came together, they established a CPSO, and in fact, the first mission she gave to the CPSO, she said, look, work with us on the 25 by 25 food import reduction program. But the point is, we now have this Caribbean Private Sector Organization, and we have seen the value of that organization because immediately the U.S. Trade Representative, the Office of the Trade Representative, which is an office within the presidency that deals with these trade-related matters, as soon as they announced that they were heading in that direction, the representatives of the CPSO were in Washington, engaging with them and explaining to them the consequences, the negative consequences this will have with us. Prime Minister Motley, it was revealed that she has written directly to President Trump explaining the consequences. And for those of us who may not be aware, the consequences are that if you impose these fees, particularly on companies or vessels that are coming to the Caribbean, that are, have come out of an American port but are coming to the Caribbean, it will drive up the freight costs that affect us. It will probably double them. and it will have a serious inflationary effect on all of the imports that come into the Caribbean. And it will drive up, it will be worse for us than anybody else because, okay, a ship coming out of China, let's say for the United States, might come with 16,000 containers, right? So when you apply that $1 million across 16,000 containers, the increase in the cost is very it's minimal. Coming out of China, 16,000. But a ship coming to the Caribbean is going to come with, because we are much smaller, it's going to come with 500, maybe 1,000. So when you apply that $1 million, $2 million penalty across that much smaller level of containers, it is tremendously, raising the freight costs, which will be passed on to us. So once again, I think that just like we did with the Cuban medical program, we are hearing the CARICOM speaking with one voice, not just the leadership, but also our private sector. And I guess we will have to wait and see whether, just as that approach on the Cuban Medical Corporation appeared to get through, to have some effect, that similarly we will get through and have some effect on this issue of the Chinese shipping.
Narco trafficking, because the perception, it seems, by North America is that the Caribbean area is a very valid and very vibrant transshipment point. Was that a matter of discussion?
Well, I think if there is one area on which he came to advance the Trump administration's priorities. But I think if there's one area in which their priority is a priority of ours as well, is that area of security. Because there is quite a bit of security cooperation in our region between CARICOM and the United States. And in fact, we have been saying to them, look, we need much more cooperation, particularly in relation to guns, American-made, manufactured guns coming into our region and causing so much havoc. So yes, we do have the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative. We have a lot of security cooperation, and so that was one issue on which we're fine. Yes, let us sit down. That's a priority for us as well. In fact, coinciding with him coming to the Caribbean was the official opening in Barbados of 2 new facilities of the regional security system, one of which a new logistics hub at Paragon was a gift of the U.S. government. Of course, that would be the Biden administration. But yes, so that was one area that hopefully the 2 priorities coincide, and we will enhance the cooperation. But as I said, one of the reasons that we have to pay a lot of attention to where the Trump administration is going to be going is that it seems to me that they're harking back to the policies of the 19th century, and we need to be aware of those policies. So in in the 19th century, I mean, the United States was a relatively new nation, young, just gotten its independence, now beginning to develop. And they came with 2 policies. President Monroe in 1823 came with something called the Monroe Doctrine, where they said, this region is our backyard. Europe, you European countries that are accustomed to having colonies and accustomed to having your imperialism in this region is off limits to you. This region is our sphere of influence, our backyard. Of course, back then, we were simply colonies. Secondly, at that time in the 19th century, Britain had this free trade system, British free trade, where Britain had an empire. So Britain was all about free trade. The Americans said, no, we are opposing British free trade. We are coming with something called the American system of political economy. Well, the American system of political economy said that the United States was going to put up a tariff wall, high tariffs around their national economy. They were going to look inward. They were going to be protecting these infant American industries, protecting them from competition from outside, from British free trade, for example. And they were going to focus their attention on developing their national industries, developing American infrastructure, roads, canals, eventually the railroad system, and so forth. So that was the policy of the 19th century, the American system of political economy. But the Americans, as they got stronger, they too became champions of free trade. And they went on in the 20th century not only to champion free trade, but to champion multilateralism, the development of the League of Nations, the development of the United Nations and the whole multilateral system. Now, the Trump administration seems to be jumping backwards over the UN and all that multilateralism back to those 19th century doctrines of Monroe Doctrine and the American system of political economy. So we need to understand this. We need to understand that history, because if we understand that history, we will have deeper insights into where they are coming from. But it has implications for us, because we now, just like, we began our history, our modern history, just like the U.S. We were all British colonies, They brought together these British colonies, they formed one nation, they became strong, and then they have relations all over the world, That's the path that we are on now. We have come together in our Caribbean community. We are trying to become a strong unit. And we too have decided that we have to, just as they broke out of that British orbit, a couple of centuries ago, and look to the rest of the world, we too have decided we have to diversify. So we are now in the process of developing relations with Africa, with Latin America, with the Middle East, with China. Many of our countries have signed on to the Chinese Belt and Road program, and so forth. So this is where we are going to have a mature conversation with the Americans, with the Trump administration, because this idea that this region is somehow, the Americans' backyard. No. You can't. There's a classic American novel by Thomas Wolfe. The title is "You Can't Go Home Again." In other words, you can't really go back to the past. You can't, because the world has moved on, and so we are going to have some very mature conversations about this. But the good news for me, Pearson, is when you look at how we have started with the Cuban medical program, with the issue of these Chinese tariffs, I think CARICOM is approaching it in the right way. We are speaking in a unified way, with a degree of resolution, very, very clear, very firm. This is our truth. This is our reality. These are our national interests, and let's have that conversation, and let's come up with something. Let's come up with something that we all can live with, because that's basically what Prime Minister Motley said to President Trump. Your policy is going to have very negative impacts with us. Let us work out something where that does not happen, where we don't face these negative consequences. So it's like a riddle, a puzzle, and we have just begun to see how we can work out this puzzle.
Yeah, we've only just begun. So keep an eye on this space, because the conversations on CARICOM will continue to update you on what's happening as it unfolds before us, this relationship between us and them, how CARICOM stands up to represent the peoples of the region against what sometimes could feel like oppressive positions. Thank you so much, Ambassador Commission, for joining us this
Thank you,
morning.
Pearson.
That's our conversation on CARICOM. It's 1:30. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Did you know that there's an acronym called PASS which makes it very easy to use a fire extinguisher? P, which stands for pull the pin. A, which means aim at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. And another S, which means sweep from left to right. This allows you to effectively extinguish a fire.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We are 28 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock. The riddle of the day remains unsolved. It's on you, literally. So you need to give me a call on 228-5562 or 228-5563. That is, you don't know me yet, but you always miss me when I'm gone. What am I? That is the riddle. Your turn to call me. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Solve that riddle for me. I know in the early morning it's tough sometimes to get the brain kicking, but I think you can do this because I think it's a really simple question. It's on your screen. You don't know me yet, but you always miss me when I'm gone. What am I? Your task, if you accept it, is to call me. 228-5562 or 228-5563. So think about it and get ready to give me a call. I did tease you at the beginning of the show about the memorial. And, you know, it's just so lovely. I can see it emblazoned in words on some marquee somewhere. The memorial. Coming soon to a screen near you, so to speak. Well, the Jehovah's Witnesses, this is a part of the annual celebration, and it happens in the month of April. And so joining me now to talk more about what the memorial means and what it can mean for you, as well as the public communications representatives of Jehovah's Witnesses on Island, Craig Jones. Craig, good morning.
Good morning, Pearson, and good morning to the Mornin Barbados family locally. And of course, I know you have many followers in the diaspora, so good morning to them as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming indeed. Now, the memorial. Could you explain, give some background into what that means and how Jehovah's Witnesses came up with the whole concept of the memorial?
Okay, well, the memorial is the most important event for Jehovah's Witnesses on our calendar each year. And really, the origin of the memorial is really what Jesus Christ asks his followers to do to commemorate his death in a simple ceremony. It was first instituted on Nisan 1433 CE. Mm-hmm. So each year we follow the Jewish calendar, and on that date, that's when we have our celebration. This year, it's April 12th, that's a Saturday, after sundown. So throughout Barbados and around the world, Jehovah's Witnesses will be having this very simple ceremony to remember what Jesus Christ did for us.
For a lot of Christians on Island, they think the Last Supper happened the Thursday before Good Friday. But you're saying, based on the Bible history, that is not necessarily accurate.
Yes, so this celebration happened on the Jewish calendar date of Nisan 14. So we try our best to follow specifically that date based on the Jewish calendar. And so that's why it's not the same date each year. So it changes based on the Jewish calendar, which is a little different to the calendar that we follow in the Western world.
And so the concept then of the memorial, what happens?
Well, at the memorial, it's really a 1-hour celebration. So there's a Bible-based talk that is surrounding events leading up to that particular meal. And for about 15 minutes, there's the actual commemoration of the celebration where we will reenact what Jesus Christ did. So there'll be a passing of the bread, the emblems, representing his perfect body, and of the blood representing, and of the wine, which represents his blood given in behalf of mankind. It's a very simple ceremony. The public is invited. There's no collection. You can dress as you're comfortable, no restrictions on anyone, and it's open to the entire public. And we'd be happy for anyone to attend. And Pearson, just to let persons know, we know persons are housebound, we know persons have busy schedules, so they can also attend this celebration virtually.
Yes, indeed. So, and once you go to jw.org, you can find the location where you can join, that's convenient to you to join the memorial. And so the talk, what's the topic of the talk this year?
The topic of the talk for the memorial,
yes,
is really appreciating what Christ has done for you. So it looks at the 2 greatest acts of love.
Right.
The first greatest act of love is what our Heavenly Father did in giving his Son on our behalf. The second act of love is what Jesus Christ did. He voluntarily gave his life for us. And if you think about it, none of us were born then, but yet without even asking, those 2 greatest expressions of love were demonstrated in our behalf. And what we found is that as persons reflect on those acts of love, it provides a measure of comfort, not only in what was done for us, but we live in a world that is very cold and loveless. And taking the time out to think about what God has done for us not only deepens our appreciation for our Creator, but it also helps us to look at those personal relationships we have with our family, our neighbors, and our friends. And then we're moved to imitate our Heavenly Father in showing acts of love and kindness to people in our daily life.
And that's so critical, I think, because, and you're right, we've become as a people so very cold, isolated almost, and isolating ourselves and others from us, that we lose the connection. And we've lost that connection simply because we've not gone back to the truth. And I want to talk a little bit about that from the Jehovah's Witness point of view, about finding God and understanding who he is and what it means for us as well. Can you share with our viewers this morning how critical that is?
Well, that's important. In fact, it is so important that prior to our memorial celebration, this weekend coming, we have a special talk that we've been inviting persons to. It's entitled, Can Truth Be Found? And that 30-minute Bible discourse looks at the truth as was taught by Jesus Christ. What did he say about the truth? And why it is so important? You're in the field of journalism, so you understand that getting the facts is important to providing critical information to people so they can make the best possible decision. Well, over 1900 years ago, Jesus addressed that matter of the truth. And he wants us to come to know the truth about him, about his Father, and particularly how learning that truth can influence the decisions we make now so that our future and that of our families can be the best possible future we can have. So that 30-minute Bible discourse looks at what Jesus taught about the truth, where truth can be found. And for us as Jehovah's Witnesses, as we do our preaching, often as we do, we found that persons want to know the truth. There's some big questions people have in life. And because of the things that are now affecting all of us, you know, we want answers. Why is this happening? Why did it happen to me? And so the Bible provides the answers that we need. And that's why, as Jehovah's Witnesses, we're inviting persons not only to a memorial, but to our special talk too, entitled, How Can Truth Be Found?
So can truth be found? The answer is yes.
Definitely.
Where can truth be found? It's in the Bible.
Absolutely.
But for a lot of people, there's a fear of understanding the Bible. They see words and then they can't quite comprehend because there's a myth around the Bible that says it's a mystery. And suddenly, you know, it requires a physicist to help you sort this out. And that's not necessarily true, is it?
No. In fact, when you look at the Bible, it contains so many simple principles for daily living, matters as it relates to financial decisions, child rearing, health, I mean, interpersonal relationships. These are not deep and complex truths. They're really simple truths for daily living. But we do understand as Jehovah's Witnesses that a lot of persons have a lot of misconceptions about the Bible. And people have some fears about the Bible because they think it's a book of doom and gloom and it's about punishment. But really, the Bible is actually a loving letter from my Heavenly Father. The way how a parent would write an impassioned plea to a child, these are the things I want you to do to be successful in life. Well, that's what the Bible really is. And as Jehovah's Witnesses, we encourage people to read the Bible, get to know the God of the Bible, and to see what His personality is. When we do that, we can then give Him the glory that's due His name. And that's really what He wants from us. He wants the best for us, and He's revealed the best way we can live in a simple letter to us called the Bible.
And that's so simply put. You know, folks, I don't know sometimes why people just can't consume that. I get that, but we all grow as we grow in our walk with Jehovah. And it takes time and it's to be patient with people as well. So oftentimes we know Jehovah's Witnesses will hit the street, you're sitting at the pavement, you're waiting and you're welcoming anyone for discussion if they choose to do so. So leading up to the memorial, how active in community will Jehovah's Witnesses be?
Well, we have been very active. So since mid-March, for example, we've had a special campaign where we've been going into our communities, offering an invitation, a physical invitation.
Right.
And on that physical invitation is going to have the date and the time of the memorial in that community. But then on our website, we have an electronic invitation. And in that electronic invitation, there are also some videos embedded that persons can watch. There's also the Find a Memorial location. There's also the Find a Special Talk feature. So we've been very active in preaching and in reaching out to persons. And you know, Pearson, statistically in Barbados, for every 122 persons, there's one Jehovah's Witnesses. So we're trying our best to reach every person we can. And we know that may not be possible, and that's why we have all the information that's needed on our website, so that if persons wish to attend and they haven't seen one of Jehovah's Witnesses yet, there's not a Jehovah's Witness that works with you, that's not a relative of yours, that's not a neighbor of yours, then you can visit our website. But we're absolutely certain that we're going to cover the length and breadth of Barbados with this campaign, because we recognize how important it is for persons to find that connection with their Creator. Because you know, there's so many things in life that can overwhelm us, that can cause us to become discouraged, you know, make us feel as though, well, what is this life coming to? And that really affects persons emotionally. But being able to find that connection with your Creator, to know that someone cared enough about you to do something so amazing for you, it helps to push away a lot of the darkness that people are experiencing. And it brings some joy and happiness into their life. And that's what we really want persons to experience for themselves.
We're going to take a break right here. This conversation shall continue, Craig. So don't you dare move from there. Folks, we'll come right back to share with you even more about how the Jehovah's Witnesses can help you realize your fullest potential. Not just your potential, but your connection with Jehovah God. And so right back after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Did you know that there is an acronym called PASS, which makes it very easy to use a fire extinguisher? P, which stands for pull the pin. A, which means aim at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. And another S, which means sweep from left to right. This allows you to effectively extinguish a fire.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
15 and a half minutes to go to the hour of 7 o'clock with Craig Jones, who is the communications representative of Jehovah's Witnesses on Island. And we started a discussion looking at the upcoming memorial. It's on April the 12th, and it's in every Kingdom Hall near to you. But if you're not able to go in person, you can join online. But go to the website jw.org. Promise you, it's going to be quite an interesting experience as well. And you know, Craig, for a lot of people, there's still a lot of myth around Jehovah's Witnesses and understanding what you guys do. I have too many conversations with my family alone. So I say, you know what, person, just stay quiet for just a moment. Just stay quiet. Let them eventually get to that point. But let's talk a little bit about the mission and the purpose of Jehovah's Witnesses and what you believe and how what you believe can help so many other people as well.
Yes, well, our goal really is to follow the example of Jesus Christ. The way how he taught persons. His emphasis was always on speaking about his Father's kingdom as being the hope for mankind. And so Jehovah's Witnesses, that's really what we seek to do, to share a message of hope with persons. We do our best to live our lives in harmony with the Bible. We're not perfect people. We're affected by the anxieties and the challenges of life like everyone else. But what we try to do is to share a positive message with persons, to talk about the Bible, to draw attention to the fact that God's kingdom is real hope for mankind, and to do our best to be positive members of our communities wherever we live.
And so when you see a Jehovah's Witness knock on your door, don't run and hide and tell lies. Don't do that. That serves no purpose at all. But I'm sure a lot of you, as you're watching and you're living moment by moment, you're miserable. Because somehow you realize that there is a disconnect in your life and there is a discomfort as a consequence of that disconnect. And you are in search of finding a place that brings you comfort. And that's where you're saying, Craig, in a study with the Jehovah's Witness, you find the truth. And in search of that truth, now you are able to breathe a whole lot easier because God just wants you to be the best.
Exactly. And you know, there's so many times when we share our message with persons and they're surprised, first of all, of the simplicity of our message. Because there are a lot of misconceptions we understand about Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot of things have been said, and we appreciate that. That's fine. And we give persons the opportunity to examine our faith based on the Bible. So nothing is hidden. You know, it's interesting, our website, jw.org, carries all the information about Jehovah's Witnesses, the things we believed and taught many years ago, the things we currently believe now. So if any person wants to know about Jehovah's Witnesses, our beliefs, who we are, why we preach, you know, that's all there. And we've put that there in the open for persons to see for themselves, that Jehovah's Witnesses are ordinary people. Our love for the Bible, though, our love for truth, that's what compels us to go door to door preaching. And that's not the easiest thing to do, especially in our changing society. But because we do understand the command that was given to us by Jesus Christ. He said, go and make disciples. And that's what we go to do. That choice that of making disciples and that decision to want to study the Bible with Jehovah's Witnesses is really a personal choice. If you're interested, you'll do that. In fact, you can start doing that on your own by just visiting our website and seeing the information that's there. And you can read all about Jehovah's Witnesses and what we believe. And then as a Jehovah's Witness call on you or you see them at work, you can ask them a question. So there's no pressure at all.
At all. But sometimes you want to hide and do it. So for those of you who are a little conscious of being seen publicly associating with, go to jw.org, read about it yourself, and take your time to study as you do it. There's so many publications there where you can find answers, and that's important. Because in understanding all of that, then you realize there's no fear in stepping over the threshold into a kingdom hall. That there are people there who are prepared and ready to welcome you. Because we all want to see another soul saved. And so that's the importance of not running away from the memorial when it happens on 12th of April. And that's why you are comforted by the fact that when you walk in, no one is going to judge you.
Absolutely not, Pearson. You know, we have people who attend our meetings and, you know, they're surprised when they attend that it is what it is. Because it's not their regular experience. And it's really not the expectation they had of coming to a religious meeting of Jehovah's Witnesses. And, you know, the warmth that they experience, the simplicity of the program, it surprises them. And so that's something that we take delight in helping persons to understand about Jehovah's Witnesses and helping persons to see that some of the things that they may have previously believed about Jehovah's Witnesses aren't necessarily what they believed. And know that they come to know Jehovah's Witnesses better. then there's no need to fear having a conversation with us. It's not going to commit you to anything.
That's right.
Everything is voluntary. And that gives us a lot of comfort and a lot of joy too, because we steadily see persons accepting Bible studies. Many persons visit our website, and because of the range of information that's there, particularly for families, there's so much information there for parents, teenagers, making those tough decisions. And because we know that persons consume content differently, there are a lot of animations and videos. There's so many activities for parents with toddlers on our website. So as Jehovah's Witnesses, we understand how important family is to a society, and how important it is for parents to give their children the best start in life. So that's why there's so much information that's there for them. And we think this is our responsibility. Jesus did it when he was on the earth, providing for everyone. And so we just seek to imitate his example in drawing attention to the only real hope for mankind, and that is God's kingdom. And that's simply what Jehovah's Witnesses are about.
Yeah. So it's a website where you get the truth, and it's based on the Bible principles. It's not based on someone's opinion. It's not based on someone's I thought of, and therefore I can try this out and see how people respond to it. But there's an emphasis on studying. It's an emphasis on teaching. And so that's what I found with the Jehovah's Witnesses, that there's so much time spent on teaching you, and patience in teaching as well. That it is truly phenomenal. I started my whole thing just in search of understanding what death was about, what happens after death, what happens in the latter days. Those are the kinds of things that triggered my interest. And from then on, I'm telling you, as you can see on your screen, you can search for peace and happiness, marriage and family, faith in God, how to help for teens and young adults, all of those things. And it's multimedia, it's multi-experiential. And so you can explore at your convenience, jw.org, and you see what the website offers. You plug in a question and you see all the options pop up in response to that question that you have, and it guides you to the Bible principle that helps to shape your response. That, I think, is phenomenal work, which brings to the question, how does that get done? The work to pull it all together.
Yes, so our work is done, surprising to many people, by voluntary contributions. So if you visit the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, we don't do a collection. We have small boxes placed at the back of the Kingdom Hall, and persons just make donations. Our work is voluntary, because that's what Jesus Christ taught. You receive free, you give free. So there's no tithing, there's no obligation on persons to give. And we've seen how our Heavenly Father has blessed our work. The same website that you refer to, that's in over 1,000 languages. Now, Pearson, I don't even know if I could enunciate 100 languages.
Yes.
But that website is in over 1,000 languages, and that's because we recognize the importance of persons hearing Bible truths in the language of their heart, their mother tongue, and that makes such a big difference with persons. And because of that, we put tremendous emphasis in reaching people where they are. And our work, as I mentioned, is therefore voluntary work, because we want people to be happy when they're serving God.
Without even knowing it, as I reflected over time, we used to have a watchtower in our house, and I couldn't understand. Good reading, because the articles were very, very interesting, but obviously someone brought it in. So without even knowing, we were already engaged in the house in the study from the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so we had a question coming in. That's what was tapping my ear, because someone wants to know a little bit more about Watchtower and Watchtower studies.
Okay, so the Watchtower is the principal article that we use as Jehovah's Witnesses that we study each week. So this week, for example, because we're leading up to our memorial celebration, our Watchtower discussion is really about the ransom sacrifice and why it was so important, what it revealed about our Heavenly Father Jehovah, what it revealed about His Son Jesus Christ, and then how can you show appreciation for that. So this coming Saturday and Sunday at the over 119,000 congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide, that is what we're going to discuss as congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses. And so those who join us for our meetings, that's what they will hear us discuss as well. Why are we doing this? Because it's building our own appreciation for the memorial celebration. Now, this is an annual celebration for Jehovah's Witnesses. So we are familiar with it. So the elements of that celebration will not necessarily change. But what has changed, Pearson, is we ourselves. In the past year, as humans, we've all experienced so many different things. For many persons, it's a tragedy. It's the loss of a loved one in death, or it's something else that has brought you some sort of anxiety or challenge or difficulty in your life. So when we attend the memorial celebration, when we study the Bible, when we get together in our congregations, what it does is that it strengthens our faith and our hope, because the challenges in life and the anxieties in life make it difficult for us. So by attending the memorial celebration each year, what we do is that we renew our hope and we renew our faith and we strengthen our confidence that our Heavenly Father, Jehovah, loves us. He wants the best for us.
Indeed. So let's do the bullet points. When is it? How can we be a part of it?
So our memorial celebration is Saturday, April 12th, after sundown. Jehovah's Witnesses will continue to extend our invitations. You can see the information virtually on our website. You can find the meeting, find the location, find the time, and you can join us.
And that special talk, Can Truth Be Found?
That's on Sunday or Saturday this weekend, Saturday the 5th or Sunday the 6th at congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses around the world.
Folks, a no-brainer. So we invite you to the memorial on the 12th. Then this weekend for that special talk, Can Truth Be Found? The answer is yes, but you can be guided as to how you can do so. If you need to have further discussion, you can also go to the website and indicate that you need some further discussion with the congregation, because the study is so important and so enriching. I want to commend it to you indeed. Craig Jones, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As always, I hope that all of the Kingdom Halls, we get thousands, and it's not about numbers to boast, but that many people do see the benefit and come online if they can't come to the Kingdom Hall to be a part of the memorial upcoming and the special talk as well. Craig Jones, Public Communications Representative of Jehovah's Witnesses, thank you.
Thank you very much, Pearson, and thank you to your audience as well.
As always, you're welcome. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Mark your calendar for this moment. The biggest major homecoming. Behold, diaspora buzzing. I gathering, you gathering, together we gathering. Come long, come long, come long, oh. Time to spread divine. 2025. Come long, oh. From both here, follow your heart home down here. What a celebration when Bajans together we gathering. Celebrating we culture, heritage and the future that we can build together. Bajans come along, we gathering. Come along, come along, come along, oh. Time to spread divine. 2025. Come along, oh.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
7 o'clock in Barbados. Let's look at some news now. Government is seeking to clear the air on the African Export-Import Bank, which is set to be headquartered in Barbados. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Carrie Simmons, says concessions will be given to the bank, which he describes as a supranational financial institution. He notes that the principal shareholders of the bank are the 53 nations of Africa, in addition to 12 CARICOM member states of the bank. Now, Minister Simmons says provisions given to the bank are similar to those given to the Caribbean Development Bank, the Caribbean Examinations Council headquarters, Interpol, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, and the Regional Security System.
With regard to concessions, you have to look at what you are getting. You don't just give concessions on an airy-fairy basis. For the Africa Exim Bank, it should be clear by now from all that has been said that the bank is coming here to help support trade development in this country. It is coming here to help promote investment into this country and by this country into other countries. It is also here to help support insurance for businesses which are doing work across borders, or in other words, export insurance. It is here to help promote the tourism sector. And in fact, there are some substantial loan discussions taking place in Barbados right now between players in our tourism industry and the Africa Exim Bank.
Minister Simmons says it is disappointing that such conversations do not occur with American, French or British investment in the island, and he says it is time to put petty politics aside and look at the broader benefits, since attracting some headquarters actually lifts the island's international reputation, which promotes investment, commercial activity and employment for Barbadians. Minister Simmons stresses that the Africa Export-Import Bank in Barbados has gotten less concessions than in Cairo or any other of the 53 African states.
The African community has reached out to the Caribbean and identified the Caribbean as the sixth dimension of Africa. The diaspora is now treated as the sixth dimension of Africa. So you would have Central Africa, East Africa, West Africa, North Africa, South Africa, and the diaspora. And it is really for us now to begin to engage rather than to find ourselves in this unfortunate position where we are about to welcome folks here as major investors in this region and in this country and treat them in a way in which we create the image that they are in fact less than welcome.
Government, through the Seaport Industry Management Operations and Development Bill, is aiming to regulate and modernize the Barbados Seaport Authority. Minister of Tourism and International Transport Ian Gooding-Edgell, in leading off debate in the lower house, thoroughly dissected the legislation. He says shipping and logistics are the lifeblood of global trade, and Barbados is working to be a transshipment hub. According to Minister Gooding-Edgell, other pieces of legislation have been introduced as the country complies with recommendations of a 2018 audit by the International Maritime Organization.
What is necessary in this particular bill, that it creates the enabling environment for Barbados to become a leading transshipment hub, as well as to achieve and maintain sustainable seaport industry. Of course, seaports are a base of of industrial development. It's centered around shipping and port activities and maintain vital linkages between seaport industry and the maritime sector, particularly transport and the logistics market. And the framework in terms of the bill, which also sets up what we're trying to achieve, will have obviously satisfied key pillars of our national policy on international shipping.
Minister Gooding-Edgell further revealed a policy paper is being worked on as Barbados seeks to build on the linkages within the cruise sector.
Bringing agriculture, manufacturing, commerce, and all others to the table to have a full discussion. We have had a number of stakeholder engagements already. That paper will shortly be submitted to the Cabinet for their consideration. But what is important for us is to ensure that we have the appropriate linkages. And by having the linkages necessary to build out the provisioning capacity in Barbados, it will allow not only Barbadian businesses to generate business from Barbados, but it will also help us in terms of creating economic opportunities and other job creation from this sector.
In his response to the bill, has concerns about the section which allows ship detaining and arrest. This is found in section 71(1). He says he's not there to tear the legislation apart, but rather wants it to be seen as a combined effort to finish a good and necessary work. He says it is similar to the Morava Convention in the court.
A creditor has the right to go to a court and ask the court to enjoin that ship against departure so that he may pursue his legal rights against the ship owner or indeed against the ship. So that this section reads similarly to that injunction, but it is particular. It is not precisely of the nature of the injunction. But I want to bring, through you, sir, Clause 71(1), I want to bring the minister's attention to the second line, which says, an authorized employee.
The opposition leader added that an authorized employee may arrest the ship and that gives substantial powers to the person should they be identified.
Now, admittedly, Your Honor, I came here this morning after the government managed to put together its quorum. Congratulations to the government in managing to put together that quorum. And I have come here and I've read the legislation for the first time, and perhaps that is my fault. But there's no quarrel generally with the legislation. I just want to bring the minister's attention to that section 71, clause, I'm told I should call it, clause 71, subclause 1, which gives an authorized employee that great power to arrest a ship. There are several employees down there. Now, my own humble suggestion is that the legislation may wish to define who is an authorized employee.
11 students involved in this year's Science and Technology Speak Off competition have been told they have way more tools than before at their disposal. This from Minister of Innovation, Industry, Science and Technology, Senator Jonathan Reed. He says the world is moving at a speed where artificial technology will become a part of the landscaping going forward. At the end of the competition, the Coleridge and Parry School was named winner, followed by Harrison College, while third place went to the Princess Margaret School. Talicia Boyce of the Coleridge and Parry School was adjudged the most outstanding speaker, while Chelsea Boyce of Harrison College was named the most outstanding speaker in the impromptu category.
I'll admit that I gathered my notes and wrote it quickly using some AI to get me here, right? I'm sure you all did too, all right? But you had to gather your thoughts, help to streamline your thoughts, and drive you to the result that you want. You have amazing tools at your disposal, way more tools than were ever before available. So I think there's a critical time to think about Barbados as a space that's not a consumer of technology, but start to see ourselves as makers of technology.
And Senator Reed says it is time that Barbados unlocks a new level where Barbadians are developers of technology and not just users. He told them to be creative and innovative.
That we are developers of new foods that taste delicious, but also super healthy. That we design new ways of turning the sun, the wave, the wind, and batteries into new types of technologies that allows us to move away from fossil fuels. That we can build apps and robots and interesting software platforms that move the island forward. That we could lead in marine science and protect our oceans while doing so sustainably. Science is just not a career path. Science is the future for our nation's building.
To sports now, Cricket West Indies has announced two major changes in the leadership of the region's Test and T20 international teams. Craig Brathwaite has stepped down as skipper of the test squad, while Shea Hope is the new T20 skipper, taking over from Rothman Powell. Head coach Darren Sammy contends the Windies can still win world titles, and he believes Hope is the man to lead the process.
It is important to understand what and who will take us there. And at this moment, after conversations that we've had, with what Shea Hope has done and the culture that we've been able to build in the ODI format, and how I see him improve and mature as a leader, it is also important to know the processes as to how teams could be successful. And we have all these resources at our disposal. And I think for this next juncture in our white ball team, it's a decision that will bring stability, continuity in the way we want to do things and the way we want to play. And Shea Hope is the person we've earmarked to do that.
Meanwhile, no one has yet been named as the test team skipper. Brathwaite had first indicated his intention to step down earlier this year ahead of the completion of the tour of Pakistan, but he has submitted his resignation ahead of the home series with Australia. Coach Sammy is convinced that the next cycle in West Indies cricket will be hard, and he's sure that Craig will still contribute despite giving up the captaincy.
I have no doubt that he will continue to be a leader in that dressing room moving forward. For us as a team, looking at the next cycle, it's going to be tough. It is important to understand at all three formats where we are as a team, the things that we want to do to improve and we are going to do to improve, and how we're going to do it. And it will take a lot of planning, a lot of tactical awareness, a lot of roles being executed, but it's something that is very possible.
And that's our news until now. More news on TV8 at 12 noon. Morning Barbados comes right back after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Did you know that there is an acronym called PASS, which makes it very easy to use a fire extinguisher? P, which stands to pull the pin. A, which means aim at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. And another S, which means sweep from left to right. This allows you to effectively extinguish a fire.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart and experience General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and feel his love. Greater love.
you.
15 minutes after 7 o'clock now, as we turn our attention to continuing to celebrate Barbadians who do excellent work and have been contributing to the livelihood of Barbados and the upliftment of us as a people. One of them is from the parish of St. Thomas with me this morning. Her name is Patricia Ramsey. Patricia, good morning.
Good morning to Barbados.
Good to see you. I can see you. Wait, I know her. I can hear a lot of people say that right now. That's because you've been in the medical profession for quite some time.
Yes, I have.
Tell us a little bit about your work as a medical practitioner.
Just to step back a bit, I really wanted to be a police woman. Yes, from school days.
You like the uniform.
But that I wanted a job, a uniform job, because I want to help people. And there was the police force, there was the postman came, there was nursing. But how I got into nursing? I had my first child in 1973. And when I went to the hospital, there were some nurses that their deportment was excellent.
Wow.
Their mannerism was flawless. And they showed that caring effect. And that was the stamping ground that said, well, you couldn't go into policing, this is it.
So there you were in hospital, full pregnant.
Yes, full.
And at the same time, you look at the nurses and thinking, wow.
Yes, the poor Gloria Gay. And she was, there were some outstanding nurses then.
Wow.
And that threw me straight into, out of hospital, care for the baby, and in 3 years' time, I was into nursing.
So baby delivery, let's work on nursing now, so to speak.
Yes.
Put him aside, and in 3 years or so,
yes,
you were into nursing.
Yes,
and
nursing.
You've never looked back.
No.
But you've done so much already in caring for the people of your community. I mean, where are some of the places you would have worked as a nurse?
I started off on ward B5, that was orthopedics. Then I went to gynae, which is B4. Then I went to A3. That time there was no surgical ICU, so that was a step down from recovery room. And then I went to oncology. And from oncology, I was thrust into pediatrics. And it was pediatrics until retirement.
You have done so many things within that whole span of your career.
I worked in more special areas. Yes. So pediatrics then became the love of my life. I was sent to train when we got our pediatric ICU. I was sent to train to England to train for that program. And I am so proud of the pediatric ICU because we do excellent work there. Excellent. I mean, before time you would have to fly out children, but then our ICU and some of the doctors who studied abroad and came back, they have saved the hospital and have saved many lives.
Wow.
Yes.
And you're speaking with such pride about...
I am. If I had to do it, I'll do it again. I'll do it again, Pearson.
Yes.
Yes, nursing is I don't look at the... People say people going to nursing for money. I can't see people going into nursing for money. There's no money that can pay a nurse.
For the amount of work she does, really. And the care she goes beyond to give.
People don't understand. When you get in there, it's like you plug in.
Yes.
And you just go till it's time to unplug and go home. And when you get home, your feet still walking.
Patricia.
I am so serious.
Serious? That is so funny, but it's so true.
It is true.
Because for you, that was your life's dedication.
I love it.
And she loves it. And you know, the reason why she's here, folks, is because you have been recognized by your parish for outstanding contribution to your parish. Talk to me a little bit about how, when you found out that you're going to be receiving this national honor. You're laughing?
I was called from the cabinet office and said my name was nominated. And if I am selected, I will hear from them. And that is why I will say, really? So I feel a sense of gratitude.
Right.
And I guess there were lots of other people who were nominated. And I'm thankful for this award. recognition, because to be honest, Pearson, what I did from my heart. I could see some of my patients now or their parents saying, yes, she deserved that. Yes, she deserved that. I could just name them as some of the consultants I've worked with. I know that.
So clearly you deserve this. You deserve this indeed. And so one day, while cooking, the call came. Were you cooking?
I can't remember what it was doing, Pearson. But whenever the call came, I was like, really?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm really thankful to the person who nominated me.
You.
I'm also thankful for the persons who chose me to receive such an award. Some of my other highlights, when the COVID hit.
Yeah, I was coming to that, you know.
Oh, you are?
I ain't forget that day, girl. So when the COVID hit, since you brought me there, because I wanted to go to this event here that's on the screen right now. Take a look, look. Do you see yourself?
Of course.
You see who you're standing next to?
Yes.
You were standing to the President of Barbados.
Yes, Sir Excellency.
Dame Sandra Mason.
Sandra Mason.
So tell me a little bit about going to Government House, the State House now, to meet with the President, and how that felt for you.
Well, first thing, you had to get the attire. And you had to get the hair in place. Because deportment says it all for me.
Yes.
First impression counts.
Correct.
Right? So with that in place, and I drove to a certain point, and then my daughter picked me up, Petra. That's my daughter over there.
Is it?
Yes, she's my daughter.
She didn't even tell me. You have a lovely daughter.
Thank you so much.
She knows I'm just kidding, right? So,
yes, and she doesn't do late, so you had to be there. They said be there at a certain time. We were there, well before the time. And it was, I had gone there before, but not to receive something for myself. So as I said, it was a moment of honor, but a humble moment.
So you didn't tremble at all?
No.
You had
I'm
no
not
nerves?
nervous. No.
I mean, after all, it's just another place, right?
I don't know, but...
what did the President say to you?
She was chatting with me a bit, like some of the things I do, how I did all of that, those things. And hearing I go on mission, she said, but you know, we have a lot of persons here that need this service. I said, yes, because at my church there's evangelism here, but not only in Barbados, but also internationally. So that's the chit chat that she spoke to me about.
And not to be ever forgotten, right? Ever forgotten. You spoke to the President. You had an opportunity.
And she said to me, you stand right here.
That's it. I love it. I love it indeed. So tell me now about the COVID experience, because while COVID was going on, everybody was hiding. Nobody wanted to catch that.
The COVID experience. I was watching the news because I am a CBC girl.
Good girl.
So I watching, when I miss you in the morning, I watch it at night, you know.
Thank you.
So that time was Colonel Bostic, and he said there would like retired nurses and persons who would be willing to help, So I wrote a letter to the nursing director through the Human Resource Department for my to go in as a humanitarian gesture to assist with the testing of the baby's eyes. Ears, sorry, the ears, the hearing tests. This time I was in retirement, but I was asked to come back out of retirement to do this program. And I said, well, if the baby's going home over the weekend and so, then there's no testing. I was working the week, but on Saturdays and Sundays, I would go in and do the testing as a humanitarian gesture, no pay.
Right, wow.
And I did that right through.
Because you cared for those little
Yes,
ones.
those babies, if they go home, they would be so much, you couldn't catch up on them. And that hearing test is rather important.
How important is it?
Because if we have a baseline when they are born and things change as they grow, then you know, well, when they're born, this test was good. So now we have to look for reasons why things have changed. Yes.
Boy, and so the day came for you to be recognized. And now you're wearing your badge with honor.
Yes,
I see it
am.
right there on your chest.
Right there.
Right there. You suddenly you put a you will wear everywhere, wouldn't you?
No.
Okay, fair enough. So it has a private place. And so, Ms. Ramsey, have been recognized by your people for your great work. You talked about evangelism.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit more about your work in evangelism.
Every Christian should be evangelizing.
Why?
Because that's what you're commissioned to do.
Okay.
To go into all the world and preach the gospel. And to ask people to give their lives to Christ. But sometimes you can't just tell people about Christ and people are in need.
Yes.
So you have to put the two together. You cater for the whole man. As you know, health is physical, mental, spiritual, and social. So you can't talk all spiritual and not helping.
And he's there hungry.
Yes, we want to do the full thing, the total man. So that is how we go. My church is evangelistic church, and this is how we go about it.
You look sound as though you enjoy retirement, though. Tell me, because I can't wait. What makes retirement so fun?
Retirement is doing things that you wanted to do. Well, I do everything. I didn't wait to retirement because if I want to move, I move. I walk in with a cane, but that is stopping me. I still moving. But I like to come back to a little bit about my community.
Sure.
My home is like, I don't know, sometimes a ward, sometimes a hospital, sometimes a nursery, whatever. Sometimes a kitchen, because it is part of me, and to do unto others as I would want someone to do unto me. I live the golden rule. That is my motto. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So sometimes there's persons, as somebody get a cut, Miss Ramsey, they run in there. What you think I go to the doctor? You think it needs stitches? If some person, the doctor, and they have to get dressings, they will say, well, there's a nurse in my district, and I'm sure she would do it for me. Wow. So instead of going to a clinic or a doctor and paying $60, $70 for dressing every change, you come to me and I just do it. I just tell you, buy the things, and the service is free. It is part of giving back into the community.
And you've always been like this?
Yes. My home is like this, Pearson. It's not just me. My late husband was like this. My children were taught to be like this. And that is...
You talk a very strong mother, though. Can you just briefly, she wouldn't hear you from here, tell me about Petra.
Oh, she was always a nice child.
You only say that because you're
No. I have 3 children, Pearson. Morning, noon, and night. They're 3, mother and father, 3 different children, 3 different personalities.
Wow, morning, noon, and night, all 3 different.
Morning, noon, and night.
Which one is Petra? Unfortunately, you would have met Petra right here with us on Mornin Barbados, representing St. Thomas, indeed, as part of the organizing committee as they had their activities. And so your honor now means for a lot of people that you are not just super, but super, honestly, because you've given back and you continue to do so to your community, uplifting other people, really, and not just bringing a resolve to a cut or a bruise, but to inspire, to help them to self-actualize and to live to be their best self. And that is a tireless effort indeed, because you still do it. With the cane on the cane, you still do it.
Still going. And then my missionary work in Malawi.
You've been to Africa?
Yes, many nations in Africa, Pearson.
You went
From
to Malawi?
1999, I was called to the mission. I didn't went, I was called. It's a difference to the missionary work. And we started off, 2 of us, the late Reverend Glenn Seeley and myself.
Yes.
And we went to Malawi. And after going to Malawi and seeing the condition of persons there and how they lived, that drove something in me, and I came back to Barbados and we were hopping from church to church and just telling people. And then the next year we had quite a large team going to Malawi.
So what did you see? I want to hear. Tell me.
When you got to the airport, Pearson, and I saw the policeman, and I look at the policeman's shirt. I mean, it looked like you could have stiff. It was so worn.
Wow.
That it was so light. You look at the shoes and the front. The children were at the airport asking for this and that and that. And then when we got there into Malawi at that time, we were staying in a Bible college. No, our first trip we stayed in a house. We had good toilet amenities, because that was a fact. And we did searching. We went to, me as a nurse at that time, I went to it was a bit organization called Save Our Souls, a children place, and we saw that. And then I went into, they took us to a village. We traveled 2.5, 3 hours to get to this village. And when you got there, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. I cried.
Wow.
And we had a Canadian doctor, and when I saw the man in his white clothes, lily white, and this guy had hydrocele, and he said he doing surgery. I said, surgery where? And in this place, he just put down a piece of paper, and the patient was so glad the man jumped down on it. And I said, well, I can't believe that.
Yes.
And then he says, come, nurse, get. Look, I was nervous then, because I could not believe that surgery going to take place here right now in this condition.
Yeah.
And it was done, and everything went well, and I did what I had to do. But when I got back home, because the surroundings were, I had this sore throat and all that, but I didn't let that stop me. And you know what I say, person, if it was possible, I would like to carry down a plane load of our people who here complaining about this and that and that and this, and leave them for a year. You can't come back on the year. Work it out. I am
Make it make
so
sense.
serious.
Work it out.
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
And because when you come back here, the word complaining out your vocabulary altogether. But Malawi has now improved so much.
Yes, they have.
I am so proud to be. The first day was in Malawi in a traffic jam. I cry because you could drive for 3 hours and never saw a car in those early days. Because this is now our 25th year from Barbados going to Malawi. You won't see a car. And then to be in a traffic jam, when I realized and I caught myself, I just started crying. I was so touched by that.
Yes, but the development, the progress.
Yes.
So there's a lot we can learn from all of this.
Yes, it's a lot we can learn. So our mission continues.
That's good. I'm happy that still you're part of that, an active part of that. Talk to me a little bit about the lessons you think our community can learn from you, your experience, and generally when you view what's happening in Barbados.
Person, I'm a people's person, and I like things to be done the right way. My heart hurt me for school children these days. They've lost respect for the elderly. They've lost respect for the parents. So everybody want the school to do this and want the church to do this, but what are the parents doing? So I personally believe that it starts at home, and I don't know how we can, but I would love before I pass to see our community come back. Mind you, we live in our Charles St. Thomas, and we live in a good community. Very rare you hear anything coming out of St. Thomas negative, actual negatives. So we still live in a relatively safe community of which we are proud. You can leave your clothes on the line. If you don't move, the days they're still there. You know what I mean? And if somebody got breadfruit, they bought breadfruit in tree, you ain't got to buy a breadfruit in town. We still have that sharing in our community. We still have that sharing in our community.
But there's some good things, but there's some bad things.
Some bad things, that is so few and far from the good.
Yes.
That I wouldn't even give that any glory.
Thank you. I agree with you, Patricia. I agree with you, because we already have so much good happening. And there's so many good young people.
And a lot of good people, young people coming out of Archard. You see Jaden Green. Jaden Green belong to Evening Light
you
Church.
showing off.
He and his mother. Yes, let me show. You know, there's bigger the unruly things and the bad things, and paste them all over when they're coming out of court, when they're doing this. And I begin at Jaden Green this morning and foundation school, because my daughter went there as well.
Miss Knight. Morning, noon, and night.
Don't get tired with Mrs. Don't get crossed up with Mrs. Rolla. Her husband will come for you.
Yes, ma'am. So, but you're right. There's so many good young people doing tremendous
in our church, Pearson. We have the wrestler who's training now. We have the boxer. We have the cricketer. We have the athletic. We have some who are overseas on scholarship.
Whoa.
We had Aaron Worrell coming out of Evening Light, who's now coaching in U.S. So we have positive things coming out of our child. Magistrate Justice Graves from our child. We have postmen. We have nurses. We have teachers. And we got the ordinary person.
You don't have me. That for you. Look at the screen right there. So Marcia is saying, congratulations to you, Nurse Ramsey. Roosevelt Bacco is saying, a proud Mrs. Ramsey. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations, Estelita Pyle saying, Miss Ramsey, a job well done. I was in nursing as well as Estelita Pyle. Patricia Ben, congratulations to you for your contribution to the Nursing Society of Barbados, a specialty to pediatric indeed. So, see, people are talking about you. Live, carry on. They're saying a compassionate lady indeed, be your brother's keeper. So the comments are flooding through because people are so immensely proud of your contribution to Barbados, how you lifted families, uplifted children, as well as you do so.
My heart beat.
I know, and you still continue to make a difference in your community. So St. Thomas recognizes you, Barbados congratulates you.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you only the very best.
Thank you.
You're very welcome indeed.
You'll be blessed.
And like you. So go back and watch this tonight. Good. That's Patricia Ramsey, a recipient of one of those people who was bred in St. Thomas and who continues to contribute. You could not but recognize her contribution indeed in the recently held Regathering Celebrations awardees. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful woman with 3 children, morning, noon, and night. I love the names to begin with, but let's continue to celebrate our people in our communities. Morning Barbados comes right back right after this.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart and experience General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and feel his love. Greater love.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 295 Turden, First Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Holligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club, we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Did you know that there is an acronym called PASS which makes it very easy to use a fire extinguisher? P, which stands for pull the pin. A, which means aim at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. And another S, which means sweep from left to right. This allows you to effectively extinguish a fire.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Feels like a long time I've not seen this man indeed. Tony Alton, my friend, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, please. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good man. I know the term is if you name it, you can tame it, but I want to name
Absolutely.
I want to name it, I claim it to your shirt. I'm serious. That's nice, man.
I can give you a number to call.
Well, please do. Please pass it on indeed.
And she has my surname.
Aha! Please still pass it on. Still pass it on. All right, folks, we continue our journey looking at emotional intelligence, becoming stronger and better at being able to manage how we respond and not simply react to how when things happen indeed. And so this journey started for a little bit, but I'm sure that as we're going that you're practicing it as well, so that you're feeling yourself becoming a lot more empowered to be able to respond in a positive way by naming it, taming it, understanding when the situations occur, how you need to redress it by breathing, your breath patterns have changed, all of those kinds of things. So now that we're a little bit clearer as we go, we reached a point now where we want to be able to define self-management. And so,
self-management.
Yeah, so help us understand what then that definition for self-management is.
So just let me take you one step back.
Okay.
To name it, I must first observe it. I have to notice. I have to notice what is going on with me. I have to be able to identify it, put a name to it, and that's what allows the taming. By taming it now, I can now control it. You see that?
I got you. I got you.
I can now control it because I've now become the observer. I am no longer the slave to my emotion. I am now setting myself up to become the master of my emotions. I am the one in control, and that control comes from the fact that I've come away from it, and I'm now observing, and then I can then decide what I do about it.
And then that also takes us back to other parts of the process as well, because in understanding how the graph you showed me with the big circle,
yes,
and how all of those intersect to help us be able to move forward. Once we've been able to control it, now what do we do? And understanding what that path is. Because a lot of times, even in trying to decide what's next, we can find ourselves bordering on reacting rather than consciously thinking of a response. Not true?
So that is that 6-second pause that we talked about.
Correct.
Your grandmother or great-grandmother who left school at 12 or 13, didn't have any certificates. Back in those days, left school and went to pick what they call pawn grass. Your grandmother would have taught you, when stuff happens, count to 10.
Yes.
Without any experience or exposure to psychology or any of the stuff that we're talking about and teaching today, they were coming from a place that says an emotion only lasts 3 to 6 seconds. If you can linger long enough, allow that emotion, that chemical response to work its way through the body, it will dissipate. Within 6 seconds, that chemical will have left. It will have done its work, and the impact on the cells within your body would be diminished. Now, you can allow your thinking brain to engage your emotional brain and make a conscious decision as to what options you have in terms of responding to the stimulus, responding to the thing that happened or the thing that was said.
A lot of our cells have memory. And so
Yes,
as things
the
happen...
body, the body keeps score. There's actually a book titled The Body Keeps the Score. Everybody should get a copy of that book. It's important.
And so because it keeps the score, when things happen, it triggers a quick response because it remembers that this means pain.
How quick? How quick?
Real quick.
You want to know how quick?
How quick?
1/10,000th of a second.
Wow, that quickly.
If you can measure that, may the force be with you.
You got that right. But it's that quick. And before you know it, it takes over your thoughts.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why
that's why that ability to pause, observe, and then ask yourself the questions that we mentioned earlier. What am I feeling? What else am I feeling? Where those feelings come? What's driving those feelings? And then, what options do I have?
Yeah.
What options do I have? So I contemplate all the possible options in response to this. I could do A, I could do B, I could do C, I could do D. And then the next question is, what is it that I want? Going forward, a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, what is my long-term objective? Because my long-term objective will then help me to decide which of those 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 options, or a combination of them, will best get me towards that outcome that I say I want.
You know, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking of a vehicular accident. You know, you get to a junction and you figure, you know what? Because I got here before you, I don't care what you're doing on the side, I'm going to push my way through and bam, accident.
Yes.
And then you stop to reflect, you know, I could have avoided this, you know, because
I could have waited 6 seconds.
Yes.
6 seconds, not even 10.
Correct. If we had done that, and if we can see that in real life, the same applies to our emotions. And it's because we cannot see our emotions as a physical thing, we tend to not give them the importance as they deserve. And so if you could say almost like a life-changing experience, then perhaps you can begin to understand why it's critical that you do practice what we've been talking about here. Those 10 seconds, those 6 seconds, take the breath, and sometimes you just give way. You just give way.
Yeah. A lot of us read the Bible, but we don't understand the very practical messaging, instruction from the Bible. Here's what Scripture tells me. It says that it is what comes out of a man.
Yes.
That defines
him.
So, and what comes out of you has to do with what's going on the inside of you. So until you become the master of self, then you're always going to be reactive. You're always going to be functioning out of past experience and not be effective in any one moment of your life, a life that you're supposed to be living in terms of going forward. So life is best understood looking back. It's best lived looking forward, but it is best understood looking back. So when you understand yourself, so we hope you see the connections.
Yes, I do.
Between what we've covered so far and where we are and where we're going. It says, when you understand yourself, when you understand your past, when you look into your past and you understand your patterns, you now take that forward as wisdom, so that when stuff happens, when things happen, and you create that moment of pause that separates your response from the thing that happens, and part of what you're tapping into is, so what does my past teach me? So when I behave this way, or responded this way, or reacted this way, here's the result. That is not the result that I want. Notice, person, that all of this is brain activity. I think I want to make this point here.
Yes.
We associate emotions with the heart. Scripture does that as well. Above all, let's guard your heart. Out of it springs the issues of your life. So we associate emotion with the heart. Here's what we teach. All the heart does is pump blood. So when we're talking about emotions, we're talking about brain activity. And so recognizing that there's a part of my brain that can't think, doesn't think, can't reason, can't judge, can't make decisions. It just simply responds or reacts based upon its programming. Like, you know, you buy a CD back in the day.
Yes.
You buy a CD or you buy a DVD. Whatever is etched on that DVD, whatever is etched on that CD, you could play it the first time, the 100th time, the 10,000th time. The only thing that is going to emerge is what is etched on that disc.
Mm-hmm.
That is your limbic brain. That's your emotional brain. It stores memories. To be highly self-managed, you want to create space and time where that part of your brain that allows you to judge, think, reason, become strategic. So self-management is about creating that time and space where you allow your thinking brain and your emotional brain to have conversation and allow you then to become strategic in your decision making. 4 skills that are taught within the model that we use. And I use the word skills because they are learnable and they're transferable. What does that mean? It means that I can learn how to think before I act. Consequential thinking. Yeah? I can learn how to not allow myself to stay in any one emotional state, whether that be a pleasant emotion, at the very extreme level, very pleasant, or we could get into this another topic here, that is the ability the inability to navigate emotions is a precursor to addiction. It is that the chase after that high.
Yes.
So can I think before I act? Do I think before I act? Do I not allow myself to stay in an emotional state that is not healthy for me, allows me to be my most productive and effective self? Where does my motivation come from? Do I need a carrot and a stick, or is there something deep within inside of me? Mission, vision, purpose. Do I flow from those places? And then finally, my worldview, the skill of optimism. Optimism says, life is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Life is pressing against me. I may not have the answer in this moment, but I know that there's an answer. And so I go looking for the answer.
Right.
So that as difficult as it may be in this moment, that I know that there's an answer, I then go looking for it. What does that mean? I practice a little humility. I ask for help. And I love the way Les Brown puts it.
Mm-hmm.
Says you ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Because now you're right. You caused me to stop and ponder for a moment, but don't do that to me in the middle of an interview. But it is true. And oftentimes we tend to redefine what asking for help is all about. And so I'm glad you clarified that for us, because we want to stay strong. Now, I was listening to your 4-point plan just now. Think, learn, mission, worldview, that kind of thing. And I'm going to navigate. I'm going to go back to my analogy of the car driver, the person who manages the vehicle. Mm-hmm. And as you set about either to earn your license or otherwise as you're navigating, you think, okay, I'm going from here to there. I'm encountering all of these experiences, and I'm going as I go. And I'm learning as I go because I'm paying attention to everything that's going on, because I need to remain safe on the road to be able to keep everybody all right. I have a global view, a mission. I know what I'm doing. I know how I have to navigate this. But most of all, I have my mirrors that give me the global view, a big able windscreen and lots of other mirrors around me to help me see where I'm going. And if we can see that this is what we do day by day to move from one place to the next, why can't we use the same skills when it comes to navigating in relationships, whether it's in the home or in the workplace? It's the same principle as I go, because the calmer I remain as a driver, the more successful I will have an outcome. I'll reach my destination in a state that allows me to continue. And so for me, I'm absorbing what you're saying, but I'm applying it in that kind of way. Is that a fair approach? Tony, talking to you.
Pearson?
Yes?
Pearson, I only have one word for you.
What's that?
Wow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. You have brilliantly captured the concept. I love the analogy. It's powerful. It is powerful. It is so complete.
I give you license to use it. There you go. And so it is important, ladies and gentlemen, that we pay close attention to how we manage ourselves. We manage our interactions one with the other, managing everything. And when I say the word managing, people think it's a difficult thing to do. It's not as difficult as you really think, because you do manage everything that you do already. The ability to clean your teeth, that's a management skill in itself. Those kinds of things.
Yes.
And so
think of it as building muscle. Think of it as building muscle.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what your push-up capacity is, but I'm quite sure if I challenge you this morning to do 100 push-ups,
you'll win.
You know, you
will win.
There you
I
go.
give up right away.
However,
yes.
If I could figure out what would get you going, something of value to you, and I said to you, Pearson, the day that you can do 100 straight back military push-ups, here's the prize. What would happen? What would go on in your mind? What would you do differently? You'd watch your diet. Yes. You'd be deliberating in your sleep pattern. You go to the gym and you'd work out. Why? Because one of these days, there's that praise that is waiting for you.
Yes.
But here's the praise from self-management. The praise from self-management is that you're less driven from the outside. You're less driven by the things people say and do. You know, somebody says, man, he's making me real sick. That leaves you because you recognize nobody made you sick. If you get sick, that's on you. That's your choosing. And so if you truly love yourself, you're not going to think, feel, and function in ways that allow you to get sick, get angry, any of those things. So the praise is the opportunity to consistently express your best self. I like the way Don Miguel Ruiz puts it. He has these 4 agreements. And these are agreements you keep with yourself. Yeah? In this quest to manifest your best self, he says, be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean and mean what you say. You have to be highly self-managed to do that. Don't take other people's behavior personally. You have to be self-managed not to take another person's behavior personally. Yes? And I like the way he puts it. He says that taking another person's behavior personally is the ultimate act of selfishness because you believe that everything is about you.
Well, you. That's right. That's right.
The third one he says is because you're not taking things personally you don't know, don't make assumptions, ask questions. What did you mean? And number 4 caps it all. He says in every circumstance in your life, only always do your best.
Tony.
Your best will change from time to time, but at any one time, only give your best.
It'll be the
give
best.
Your best. You have to be highly self-managed.
Tony, you're the best. You're the best for my man. And it's so good. I want to continue this discussion with you at some point in time, but thank you so much as always for joining in, Tony. Inspiring. Truly are. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Well done.
You're welcome, buddy. Morning Barbados comes back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 295 Turden, First Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Colligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, I feel so powerful right now having had that encounter with Tony Olton. I hope you have as well, and I hope you have a lovely today. Our little crew joins in extending to all of you big thanks and the best of the day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good